This video is going to focus on key pieces of congressional legislation, laws passed by Congress that were meant to target gender discrimination. The first is the 1963 Equal Pay Act, which, as the name implies, made it illegal for corporations and companies to discriminate pay based on gender. So the unfortunate thing is, though, that the gender pay gap in this country is still very real, and that's because it's oftentimes very difficult to enforce this law, right? So, by the letter of the law, it absolutely is 100% illegal and discriminatory to pay men and women less just based on like gender. But this is oftentimes a very difficult thing for females to prove in court. So, despite the continued existence of the wage pay gap, the 1963 Equal Pay Act was intended to establish equal pay for male and female for doing the same work. The 1964 Civil Rights Act, Title VII more specifically of it, we already talked about the 64 Civil Rights Act in ending any kind of remaining legalized segregation, but it's also important because it says that gender can't be a condition of employment. You can't not be hired because of your gender, and you can't be fired because of your gender. So that makes both of these laws pretty impactful. The other major piece of legislation that has been on the AP test in the past relates to an investigation that Congress did in the 60s and the early 70s, which began to investigate extracurricular opportunities for like females in schools. And one of the things that their investigation proved, as you can see, is that there were definitely less opportunities in the areas of sports in school, both high school and college, for women compared to male students. So, one of the laws passed by Congress is what Congress can do. They investigate problems and they pass laws to deal with it. The remedy to that previous slide was Title IX that was enacted in 1972. So, what this basically said was that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of their sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Translation: it requires any institution, high school or university, that receives any kind of taxpayer money to make sure that they don't discriminate opportunities based on gender. So if you look, this law had a monumental impact. On the left, right, these were the 1972 data, and then this is the modern data. This is the 1972 data. This is the modern data. And what you can see is obviously this has opened the door to enhanced opportunities for females in the areas of extracurriculars really to have more of an equal shot at the both high school and collegiate levels. So the Equal Pay Act, along with the 64 Civil Rights Act and Title IX, are some of the significant pieces of legislation that were geared towards promoting equality amongst genders and female rights in this country.